When looking at gold income ETFs, the highest yield lost. The cheapest fund lost. If you're picking a gold income ETF by either measure, you're using the wrong filter. I put $10,000 across 8 gold income ETFs. The winner had a 1% expense ratio. It wasn't cheap. It wasn't the highest yielding on paper, but over 12 months, it outperformed every other fund in the test. So I'm going to talk about the combination of metrics that actually matter because I spent a lot of time looking at the yields and math of different income ETFs. And in this episode, I'm going to focus specifically on gold income ETFs. Stay tuned. Now, if you already own a gold income ETF, this video is going to do one of two things for you. A, it's either going to confirm you picked correctly, or B, it's going to show you in actual dollars what the wrong pick has already cost you over the past 12 months. You see, gold income ETFs all promise roughly the same thing: exposure to gold, plus a monthly check, of course. But the way that each fund generates that check is completely different. Options overlay structure, strike selection, whether it's a covered call or a synthetic exposure, all of that is buried in a prospectus most people never read. I read it. I backtested 8 of these funds equally. I put $1,250 each in times 8, that's $10,000. And I looked at the period from May 2025 to May 2026. And the results split this field in a way that yield numbers alone never would have predicted.
I love gold. The look of it, the taste of it, the smell of it, the texture. I love gold so much.
Yes, of course, you can love gold, but making money from it, and especially income ETFs that focus on gold, takes a little bit more strategy. So let's go in depth into the method that we used here. So these are the 8 funds that I took a look at. The first one is GDXY, which I covered in another video here on this channel. It's the Yield Max ETF that focuses on gold. And then we looked at GLDI. Now, I do have to make a very important distinction here because it is a UBS ETN. Now, ETN, unlike an ETF, is an exchange-traded note. It's an unsecured debt. It does have a high credit risk compared to an exchange-traded fund. But nevertheless, I did include it here in broad general terms for comparison, even though technically it's not an ETF. IGLD with First Trust. And then KGLD, which is the Curve Gold ETF. YGLD, Simplified Gold ETF, IAUI, which is the NEOS ETF that I actually covered also in this channel. Make sure to take a look at it. And then GLDY, which is the Defiance Weekly Gold ETF, and GLDW, which is the Round-Hill Weekly ETF. And just a very quick disclaimer that a backtest is looking at the past, right? So this is not indicative of future performance. It is simply a gauge as to how this did in the past tense. So let's get into it. So as you can see from here, the number 1 performer was the Curve Gold Enhanced Income ETF. And they basically returned $187. Each fund was given $1,250. Okay, so if I was to divide 187 by 1,250, the return would have been 14.96% from this fund. It definitely outperformed all the other ones. Now, taking a look at some of the more notorious funds like GDXY, which is the Yield Max Gold, it returned $136. And if you take a look at IAUI, which I actually covered on another video, it actually did fairly well with $132 as a return. Some of the funds, like the Simplified Gold strategy, did not do as well. And this just goes to show that there definitely was a consensus, but then some differences, some pretty dramatic differences in the amount of return that you would have received. Now, this is a part of the metric. Here's another part of the metric that most finance channels are going to skip over, and it's very important that you take a look at it as well. So take a look at the funds and the return, but then take a look at the risk. If they were each apportioned 12.5%, the risk should be equal between them. But notice how some funds are actually a heavier risk for your profile than others. Of note, GDXY and YGLD have a risk profile of 17.88% and almost 20% respectively. Now, the funds that did well, which were KGLD, had a risk profile a little elevated, but not too bad, 13.28%. And IAUI, look at that lower risk percentage relative to the amount that were contributed in this backtest. So that's something else that you want to take a look at as well, as the relative risk profile, and compare that to the return and of course the fees of the fund. And by the way, on a future video, I'm going to do a similar exercise, but for silver income ETFs. If that is of interest to you, definitely hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you get a notification when it's ready. By the way, happy Father's Day to all the fathers listening here. This is a picture of my family and I today during Father's Day. And the reason I have an avatar is that my wife asked me to keep the privacy of my family pretty high when I put out videos, which is what I'm doing here. But nevertheless, I wanted to wish everybody a happy Father's Day. And by the way, I made a video on GDXY, which is one of the gold income ETF funds that I discussed. And if you want to take a look at it, the link to it is here. Have a prosperous rest of your week. I'll see you on the next episode.